everybody's New Year so far?
Good, thanks.
Good, good. BJ? Okay, good, good. Glad to hear it. Same over here. I just wanted to start off this meeting by recognizing two of our longtime contributors, Pam and Candelora. Pam and Candelora review every theme that is submitted to AMO and are super helpful if you run into any problems with your themes. So just wanted to thank them for helping out with those queues and making sure that themes that we don't want to see on AMO get rejected from AMO. And also helping out users who need a little bit of help getting their themes up and going. So yeah, thank you to Pam and Candelora for being awesome. So we have a couple of updates and announcements, and then we can open up the floor for other discussions. So the first thing I wanted to mention was that organizations are going to be submitting projects to Google Summer of Code and Outreachy, which are two organizations that offer internships. So Mozilla is looking to participate in both of those, in like both of those internship opportunities over the summer. So Mozilla will be submitting our projects, I think, between now and maybe the end of February. Then the application period will open. Both internships are going to be about 90 days set in the summer. So I think it runs from May to August. They're remote internship opportunities. Outreachy is specifically focused on giving opportunities for people from groups that are underrepresented in tech. So, you know, women, trans people, people from places that don't ordinarily have a big tech presence in them. So the AMO engineers right now have kind of brainstormed about 10 projects and are ranking them right now based on what would be most helpful for the AMO engineering team to have help with an intern for. The web extensions engineering team is also interested in having an intern. They're also brainstorming some projects. So hopefully we'll get those up. So if you know anybody who's interested in GSOC or Outreachy, tell them to keep their eyes open for projects, and applications should be open pretty soon. So any question about our internships this summer? Okay, awesome. Siobhan was a GSOC intern last summer, but not with us. But that's okay, we didn't have any projects last summer, so I'm glad you, oh, and you're wearing your GSOC t-shirt, that's really great. So yeah, if you have any questions about the GSOC experience, you should talk to Siobhan. He can tell you all about it. If you're not following along on the Dev Add-ons mailing list and you develop experimental APIs, I just wanted to give you a quick heads up that starting with Firefox 74, the preference you need to toggle in order to enable experimental APIs is changing. Shane has some details in the message that he sent to Dev Add-ons that we've linked below. We're still kind of debating whether or not we want this to go to a wider distribution list via the blog. We have updated our documentation on web extensions experiments with this new information. So if you have any strong thoughts about how wide of an audience you think this needs to reach, please let me know. My tendency is to err on the side of over communicating, but if that's not appropriate, then, you know, we won't spam people too much. But anyway, again, it's only necessary if you're working with experimental APIs. If you're not, no worries, extensions should continue working as they have been. And then the next thing I wanted to give a quick update on, so the Phoenix engineering team, otherwise known as the Firefox for Android 2.0, they're working on building support for extensions right now. We still don't officially have support enabled for them. So there have been a couple of instances recently where people have said, oh, just install your extensions on preview and it'll be fine. Extensions may work on preview inadvertently. I'm not sure what's going to happen to those extensions when support is officially supported. Once support is officially supported, once support is officially built in. So there may be some effects down the line. So I just wanted to let y'all know that we're not quite ready to officially tell everybody, go ahead and install extensions on Phoenix, but that may be coming. Any questions? Okay. I see Will just joined us. I know Will and Bob have been working on putting up a little message on AMO for people who end up on AMO from Phoenix that just kind of gives you a friendly reminder that extensions aren't quite ready to go just yet. The next thing I wanted to note, so at the end of Q1, we're looking at shipping some updates to content optimization on AMO. So this was a project that we started back in 2018 to kind of make it easier for developers to write good content for their AMO extension listings. So these are things like enforcing character restriction, like new character restrictions on titles, renaming the summary to subtitle to make it kind of easier to understand like the structure of how the content is laid out. We're going to be requiring at least one screenshot for new submissions. There may be a couple other things that we're doing too. So we're reevaluating some of the work that we did back in 2018 to see which of it is still appropriate to kind of share now in 2020. Some things have changed in the year. But I did want to give everybody here a heads up that these changes are coming, and we are looking at kind of putting up a page on Extension Workshop to kind of help developers get a little, provide a little bit more help for developers in kind of creating like good content for this. So I think this will impact content review a little bit. Like I know right now, hopefully it'll make content review a little bit easier. Like if we're requiring screenshots, hopefully that'll be a clearer signal about like who's a legitimate add-on developer versus who's kind of like spamming. My hope is that the legitimate developers will have higher quality content that they put in that is, also compliant with the restrictions. We'll see what happens. So these changes will be rolling out in a couple of months. We're still working on it, so just keep our heads up or eyes open. Gosh, I need to wake up. Just keep your eyes open for some communications about those changes. And then the other thing is you can track the project on GitHub at the link that's in the agenda. Any questions about content optimization? Anything you'd like to add, Jorge?
No, you got it.
Cool. Oh, that's exciting. So the other thing that we're working on, and we're going to be working on throughout the year, is we're looking at ways to help extension developers monetize their extensions. This is something that has been loosely on our radar for a pretty long time. One of the things we'd like to do is we'd like to be able to give developers more value for developing on the Firefox platform. So we're in the very, very early stages right now of kind of assessing what the current state of extension monetization is, both with Firefox extension developers and with developers who have successfully monetized their extensions on other platforms. So we are right now we're conducting interviews with some extension developers to kind of get a sense of what their problems are and some potential solutions to those problems. I'm interested in talking to as many as people as possible about this. So if you have any thoughts, or if you've worked on an extension that has been monetized either successfully or unsuccessfully, or if you haven't monetized your extension but you're interested in doing so, please let me know. I'd love to set up some time to talk to you and kind of understand a little bit more about your experience. So again, we're in those super early stages of it. We're probably not going to be shipping any features anytime soon, but one of our goals for the end of 2020 is to kind of maybe build out like a like a positioning statement and like potentially a feature roadmap so that we might be able to use in 2021. But again, no promises. We're just trying to get a sense of what's going on and how we might be able to solve for it. Any questions? Sylvain, I see that you're very interested in this. Do you want to set up some time to talk?
Sure.
Okay, cool. We'll do that.
Thanks.
No problem. And then the new, so we're going to be, Mozilla's next all hands. So it's a company-wide all hands where everyone gets together for a week and has a lot of meetings face-to-face, which is a little bit easier than trying to navigate time zones and not meet face-to-face. That's going to be in 2 weeks. So we're starting to prepare a little bit for that. Right now, some of our priorities are going to be on talking to some of the payments folks to see what kind of internal support we can leverage for the monetization project, and then hang out with some of the mobile folks to see to see what's going on with the mobile, particularly Firefox for Android, so that we can make sure that we're aligned as they launch. Other than that, I think there's going to be some internal team meetings, just to, we've done a little bit of planning for what this year looks like. I suspect that there's going to be a few more meetings to kind of iron some things out, and to also just have some time to work together as a team and get through some stuff. So that is my update on where we are with the all hands. I don't know, like, Jorge, Andreas, am I missing anything?
I think a lot of
Sounds good.
like, yeah, in the all hands, things tend to come up as spontaneously. Like a lot of what we end up doing just comes up in the moment. So yeah, it's hard to say right now like what's coming up because half the week is just organized during the week.
It's true. It's true. One thing I will say is we will try to, for the public meetings, we'll try to make those notes available so that folks can follow along from home. The opening plenaries traditionally have all been published on Air Mozilla following the event, or they try to get them up pretty quickly, but sometimes it takes a couple of days. You do need to be NDA'd. I'm sorry, you don't need to. No, you don't need to be NDA'd. You do need to have your Mozillians profile vouched in order to be able to view that content on Air Mozilla. So if you don't have a vouched profile, please let me know. I'm happy to vouch for you. Make sure that you can see that content. We probably won't be live streaming any of our meetings or have remote participation enabled for those meetings, but I will try to see what notes we can just make available. And then usually we try to write a blog post that kind of like recaps what we've done during the week. So we'll try to get that out a couple of weeks after the all hands wraps up. Okay, cool. So yeah, I just wanted to open up the floor for any other questions or any other updates, especially any exciting security updates. It's always exciting in the security field.
The automated catching of problematic add-ons has been very helpful. It's reduces stress for content review.
That's great to hear. Yeah. We have already noticed that developers trying out a few things. So if you do see things trying to work around our detection, please let us know. And I already updated some of the detection this morning. And it's always going to be cat and mouse game, so we will constantly have to adapt. So if you see something getting through, which you would expect to be caught by us, just let me know, and I'll be very happy to look into it.
Great.
Awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. So Jorge, what are folks working on AMO right now?
Good question. What are people working on?
Will, what are you? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was about to just put some engineers on the spot. So I mentioned the content optimization. So that's one of the things that we're going to be doing this quarter. There is some work on the block list administration interface. So this isn't something that people would know about, but basically, like, we're moving the interface that we're using to make changes to the block list from a place that is not AMO to a place that is AMO, so that it's easier for admins to perform their blocks, because like when a block comes in, like there's some investigation that happens, and that is mostly done on AMO, looking at the code, looking at other signals from the developer, and also looking at things like usage of an extension. So having the whole process occur on AMO is it should be faster and easier to do. And there are other specifics that make it easier to do it on AMO. Also, like, we have some plans of changing the block list to something a bit more performant, and that'll be better if it is managed through AMO. And somewhat connected to that, we are going to change the way that we handle add-on stats. So we are currently, add-on statistics are based on update things that go to AMO. And that is kind of a custom system that was set up ages ago, and it's not very cost effective, and it's also it's also something that was just kind of built at a time, and not enough thought was put into it. So we are going to scrap that system and replace it with a system that is based on telemetry data. So that way we have the support of the data team on, like, how reliable this data is. And it's also way more cost effective. Like, we already have some internal dashboards on add-on usage that's based on telemetry. So it's not like we're creating something from scratch. It's really just another dashboard. So once that, well, in Q1, we're only taking some first steps on that. I don't expect it to be, to have anything launched in Q1. But once we are ready to make more definitive changes there, we're gonna notify developers, because they should expect some changes in, like, the numbers, because they're not gonna be exactly the same. There's certain things like the data we get from mobile, and telemetry is like, you can opt out of telemetry. So, you know, like, there are certain things that make the numbers different. And we're also looking into, like, changing the dashboard to something a bit more modern. So there are going to be some changes coming up related to that, but that's further down the line. Let's see. We are finishing some work in the file and diff viewer on the reviewer tools. There are still some things that are pending before the old one can be shut down, but the expectation is that the old one will be shut down by the end of this quarter. And yeah, there are a few things related to security that I don't know if Andreas wants to talk about, like the search stuff.
I'm curious as to why some add-ons have comparison links, others don't.
So I would assume, without having seen the links, I would assume that the comparison tries to compare it to a version that internally hasn't been made ready to use the new code manager yet.
Okay.
And so if it compares to a very old version that has been submitted, I think, before April 2019, then the comparison link won't work. That said, we are planning, and I know we have been planning to do this for a while, but it's quite complicated and weird edge cases keep popping up, but we are planning to fix this week. We are planning to basically run an internal extraction process for all the add-ons, and that extraction process is needed in order for the code manager to work on all files. And that's planned for Thursday, but it might likely take a couple of days, I assume, because we're going to stretch out the work to not stress the servers too much. And it's a lot of files to be extracted. So don't expect it to all be fixed on Thursday, but the current plan is to start the work on Thursday.
Okay, please let me know when it's done and I'll watch for anomalies.
Cool, will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just realized I had one more general update. Sorry, everyone. So you may have heard that our IRC instance is being shut down in March, and that Mike Hoy has been looking for a replacement to IRC. So that's been decided. We're going to be working with Matrix to set up something on Matrix, which is an open source chat platform that's very similar to IRC, and it has a lot of, but also has better moderation tools, which is a big problem right now on IRC. So apologies to everyone who's seen some pretty gross stuff over there. The last that I heard, which was earlier this week, is that they're going to be opening up the Matrix instance to staff at some point this week for early testing. And then I think they're going to be rolling out the public participation maybe in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So the last I heard is before the all hands, we should be able to start onboarding people. So when I have more information about when that's gonna open, I'll email folks or post something on the forums just to help people kind of like find their ways. We're gonna have to update some of our documentation about where developers can go for support. So I imagine that we'll have a period of migration where we try to make sure that folks are getting pointed to the right place where they can come and talk.
Is there a plan to figure out what are the good group names to have?
There isn't. I just thought what we would do, at least for the add-ons group, was just kind of migrate the active channels that we already have working. I mean, we may be able to get rid of our web extensions channel and just have it get absorbed into the greater add-ons channel, because we're no longer in our crazed rebuild everything into web extensions phase anymore. So a lot of the conversations about extension development can probably live in a different channel, but it'll definitely be add-on reviewers will move. Probably our general add-ons channel will move. I don't know if AMO has plans to move, but that would be really great. And then I'm not sure, I think whoever is stewarding in each individual channel is gonna have to figure out how, if they're moving over to Matrix or not. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to better moderation opportunities.
Me too. Yeah. It just sucks that people, bad actors can kind of come in and wreak havoc. So thanks to everybody who keeps their eyes open and helps keep our community a safe space. I really appreciate it. Okay, well, we have show and tell tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Pacific. I think at 4:30 Central European time. So if you have something that you'd like to share, you can either talk about it or show it to a group of fellow add-on enthusiasts. We would love to see you tomorrow morning, but otherwise I think that'll wrap us up for the week. Thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye everyone. Bye. Take care.